Hello and welcome to another edition of Pulp Picks. My name is Patrick.
I'm Fritz.
And we're here to give you this week's reading recommendations on New Comic Book Day. And there's a whole bunch of good stuff. I read a ton to get ready for the video today. And we had a lot of picks that we were both interested in. But you're going to start with one that I actually did not read. So I'm very interested to see what you thought of.
So my pick today is Feral Issue 1. As you can kind of see up here, it's from the creators of Stray Dogs, which if you were in comics a couple years ago, you know, was like a huge,
big buzzy book. Yeah.
Constantly selling out of that. So I unfortunately missed that boat. So I was like, okay, let's check out this new one. And boy, I keep picking books with animals, and right now I'm 2-1 in terms of them being like sad, violent books with animals. But yeah, so the gist of this series is it doesn't get too much into the specifics. Apparently, I can't get too much into the specifics either today. But there's like some kind of like super rabies going around, so like they're kind of like taking like all the local like pets and everything, trying to like get them out of the area and make sure they're not like contaminated.
Sure.
Unfortunately, the car they're in kind of goes off the road, so you've got a bunch of animals now just like out in the woods in the middle of this like super rabies pandemic.
Oh my gosh.
And it's about this like these couple cats trying to like find their way back to really anything, because they're just like, we don't know where we are, we miss our humans, what's happening. And they have some encounters with some of said rabies-infested wild animals, and boy, this cover definitely undersells the amount of blood you get in this. Like I was telling you beforehand, like we've got one of our regulars, like maybe don't have him read this one. Yeah. Like there's some stuff that happens to one of his favorite animals in here that would be very upsetting. Like this is not quite on like Beneath the Trees levels of like, oh God, like
sure,
like but like. Yeah, if you don't want to see like bad things happen to cute cuddly creatures, don't read this book.
The implication there of you picking it as your choice is kind of
no. As soon as I said, it's just like, and if you do want to see bad things happen to cute cuddly creatures, also don't read this book, because what is wrong with you? But no, the art is just like it really sells, because like it's really going for the like kind of like adorable, like almost like Disney Don Bluth vibe with the art in a lot of ways, which just kind of like really drives home like the horror of it all. I don't know, it's a very solid first issue. Like it's like I said, it's just kind of giving you like bits and pieces of things to kind of figure out like certain like character dynamics and like what is actually going on, like how much anyone knows. I don't know. I'm very, very excited to see where it goes from here. I'm also like dreading where it goes from here, because spoiler alert, this is already shaping up to be one of those series like, hey, don't expect your favorites to survive, maybe. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. But no, speaking of stories that are probably also equally bloody and featuring cute animals, over to you, Patrick.
Yes. So I went with, this is number 3 of Zorro, Man of the Dead. So this is Sean Gordon Murphy's Zorro book over at Massive. And I know that I picked number 1 for this. Yeah. Or was it a consensus pick? Maybe. But it was number 1.
Yeah, number 1 was on here because number 1 was great.
So first of all, this book is gorgeous, which of course it is. It's Sean Gordon Murphy. Yeah. The concept is it's modern days. This town celebrated Zorro. Most people thinking that he was just kind of this myth. Yeah. Like Paul Bunyan or something. But a handful of people were, a little more into the whole thing than others. It's run by a drug cartel, right? So this town, it's relatively peaceful, but they're all kind of under the thumb of the drug cartel because they kind of use it as a base of operations. So nobody has any real freedom. And this guy who's been mute his whole life after his father was killed by the cartel, one day shows up dressed like Zorro and is talking like Zorro and is acting like it's not modern times, like it's, whenever Zorro was, said to have been around, and he's fighting the cartel. And so this is the continuation of that story. We're a ways into it, and the cartel is kind of stepping up their aggression against the town at large in order to try to flush out Zorro and his small band of now followers that he's built. The art in here is gorgeous, and that's something that you're going to expect coming in.
Yeah.
Sean Gordon Murphy had some iconic Batman stuff, and I'm sure that that's kind of where the impetus for this book came from. Is Batman, Zorro. There's a lot of crossover there. Visually, a lot of similar kind of things. This is, and now we're both going to sound kind of like psychopaths. One of the fun things about this is Zorro keeps going around stabbing people through the head, through the ear. It literally happens in every issue.
I remember reading issue 2 and being like, man, he's doing he's specifically stabbing them in the head a lot. Like,
he's got great aim.
Yeah,
the ear hole is not very big.
Yeah,
but it's so he's kind of this. Head in the clouds, kind of over the top goofball, but at the same time, he's out there killing the bad guys and whatever. So it just continues to be fun. Things look very dark by the end of this for Zorro. I'm really enjoying he's taken on this identity so completely, like he keeps correcting people like, I don't know who this Diego is, but you seem to have him confused with El Zorro. And it's just it's so, it's so charming. The book is just so well written. It's a lot of fun. We get a little extra backstory for some of the other characters that are involved here, which is adding some great depth. And I'm really enjoying it. It's a fun read. It's a pretty quick read, but it's got enough depth there too, where it doesn't just feel like fast food reading or whatever. So really enjoying it. I think that we've got copies of 1 and 2. So if you missed out on the first one, ooh, well. The graphic novel will be coming in, but we definitely have a couple copies of number 3 available for you to pick up. But yeah, this has been a great one. So
speaking of another great number 3, that one I was not expecting to be a good segue for, but it worked. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 3, the reigning champion. I think 3 issues all have been on here so far.
Yeah. So it's our number 1 selling book right now.
Oh, easily.
I have got to so the numbers for the top 10 selling individual issues for 2023 came out like a month or so ago, and it was like all Batman except for 1 Spider-Man, which is pretty typical.
Yeah.
I think there is next to zero chance that Ultimate Spider-Man number 1 doesn't crack into the top 5, I gotta
easily.
think. This has been the hottest book out there right now, and there's a reason for it. First of all, the creative team is maybe the biggest superstar team on any book right now, right?
Probably.
Yeah, so Hickman and Cacchetto, or Cicchetto, or...
Still not sure on that one, to be honest.
I don't know, I hear people say it different ways. Yeah. But, so Peter has gotten his powers after, what was it? What was the gap? 20 years?
Yeah, 20 years.
20 years. So in the Ultimate Universe, it was supposed to have happened 20 years ago, but the maker delayed that by preventing people from getting superpowers and becoming superheroes in order to maintain control, global control. And he set up these different governors, basically, to kind of rule under him. And so we're getting this great balance between Peter's personal life and working with Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson as they launch their news organization in a really crappy office.
I love when Peter shows up to talk with them and they're talking about there's all these mass weirdos going around, and Peter's just nonchalantly trying to drop Spider-Man stuff, and they're just oh, some people think he's pretty suave and dashing, and the other two are just what are you talking about?
So the voice of Peter Parker is so spot on in this book. We were saying just before we started recording, or I was saying, this is where I think if they hadn't done Brand New Day, this is kind of where Peter Parker would be. And so that's for the people who didn't like One More Day and Brand New Day and all of that. I think that's why you're seeing so much interest in this, but only because it's being executed so perfectly.
No, it feels like it feels like I don't have enough to say about this book, just in terms of like I have a bunch to say, but it never feels like it's enough to like really get like how good of a book this is. Like everything about like I love that like as much as he's getting the hang of it, like Peter's still like not really great at being Spider-Man.
I love
like,
that. That's
he's
like
like
a good Spider-Man thing.
Yeah, like but it is interesting because like even like from last issue to this issue, you are seeing him like he's getting better. Like he's like incrementally. Because one of the other things I love, and I kind of all the Ultimate books have been doing this so far, is like each issue actually seems to like happen like in like the month that they're coming out. Like each issue of this has been like January, February, March.
Yeah,
so like you are getting like these like off screen like incremental like he's out there like training, he's learning how to swing better, he's learning how to like actually like not get duped by people like the Shocker.
Yeah. Oh, the one-liners are like slightly corny, but still charming.
There's almost like a dad joke quality to some of the ones, which is perfect for where he is as a character here.
Yes, it's less cornball and more like grown humor. Yeah, like it's yeah. And again, the art is just dynamic. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's super cool. And seeing these Ultimate Universe versions, this new Ultimate Universe versions of these characters showing up, very interesting.
I love Green Goblin. This version of Bullseye doesn't honestly get a whole lot to do outside of like have a cool fight scene, but he's just got like a couple like real good like lines here and there that really kind of sell you like, oh, this is how this character is. Like he's still like kind of the psychopath everyone knows and loves, but like I don't know, there's just something about him that just really lands here.
Yeah, it's so good, so good. And if you missed out on number 1, there's additional printings that they're coming out with. So
I know we've got some second printings of issue. It's second or third printings of issue 2 on the shelf.
Yeah, and they're going to continue to keep printing.
Yeah, I know we've got more printings of issue 1 coming at some point.
Yep,
because I got someone signed up for that recently.
The Ultimate Invasion trade paperback, which kicked all of this off, comes out this week as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to know the story behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is like, and again, we've talked about like, honestly, like, even if you haven't read this, like, they've done a really good job of kind of like letting you know what you need to know. But like, in its own right, it's a really good story. And especially, I think especially for like the new Ultimate title coming this summer, this is going to be a good one to check out for that.
Absolutely. And don't wait to sign up for these books. Sign up for them now because there's so many copies selling off the shelf so fast that many people have been missing out on it. Like I said, Ultimate Spider-Man is by far our best-selling book right now.
Easy.
I think it's beating Batman by a good 10 plus copies. So I mean that's massive. And
spoiler alert, we already ordered a bunch of Batman.
Yeah. So anyway, lots of good stuff this week. A lot of staples, particularly for Marvel. Yeah, it's another big week, and I really enjoyed everything that I read yet again. So be sure to leave comments. Let us know what you've been reading and enjoying. Like, follow, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. But most importantly, stop on into the store if you've got the opportunity. Because we absolutely love being able to sit down and visit with people and hear what they like and get them the books that they're going to be their new favorites to read. So until next week, enjoy all the reading, and we'll be back with more Pulp Picks. Thanks.
Keep rolling. What?